Thank you everyone for joining us today for our live product tour of Navan. Um, I'm Jasmine. Lovely to meet you all. I'm Jasmine. I'm a solutions architect at Navan. My role is really around the product to make sure, and essentially I spend my time making sure that we have the right product for the clients that we're bringing on board with the sales team. My background is actually in accounting, so I'm actually a chartered accountant and also a financial auditor at PwC in my past life. So I kind of work with both everyone from the front end and the back end to make sure we have the right product and answer questions throughout the evaluation. I'll be walking through a little couple of bit of slides just to introduce you what Navan is, and then I will be going through an actual demonstration of the platform. Please do feel free to type any questions in the Q&A function. We might not get time to answer absolutely every one of them today, but we'll definitely have them written down so we can follow up with you after the fact if we don't get all that way there. So kind of a quick agenda of what I just spoke through. So we'll start with a couple of introductions to Navan, help you understand who we are and what we do, go through that demo and then that Q&A. But please do put questions in throughout. So looking at travel and expense as just a general landscape, the way that the entire ecosystem has kind of worked has really been different providers focusing on different things, meaning that, you have your travel management that could be split into a actual management company, which is that fully fledged agency, paired with another company that might be an online booking tool, all the way to how do we actually pay for this? And a lot of companies have a different way of doing this by through partnerships or through integrations. Expenses then come in. Travel is one of the biggest expenses that that occur within a business usually. But then we also have then how do we get corporate card spend, personal cards, actually reimbursing employees, and actually at the end of this, getting it into the ERP, into that source of truth. A lot of the time right now, this is a bit of pieced together. So this is either pieced together by, lengthy integrations that have to be created, or oh sorry, apologies. Apologies, sorry. I had it on the starter screen. So essentially, this is where we start with, as I was mentioning, that kind of fragmented ecosystem. This is where our different people, different competitors in the market have really focused and siloed on certain aspects of this, but really it all comes together in one very fluid and dependable system on each other. So essentially what we want to do, what we're doing at Navan is how are we combating that kind of trade-off? So the trade-off between focusing on actually controlling costs and controlling what different employees are able to do within these systems, whilst being able to balance, a user experience. Majority of the time, there's no path to achieving both when it comes to this disparate systems and disparate landscape. This is where Navan really comes in, and we have a proactive approach, really flipping the entire model on its head by having everything in that one place. We saw that broken system, and we decided to build something that fundamentally is different. It's not just better, but a completely new model for the travel and expense space. Instead of profiting from complex pricing or disjointed systems, what if we had a platform that only succeeded when you did? When you actually enjoyed using it? What if the goal wasn't just, process traveling expenses, but to actually create a seamless experience that people, actually want to use? So here we are as Navan, as a little bit of an introduction. We are actually the third largest TMC within the entire world and the number one fastest growing. We are very dependent on having a great customer base and also a good kind of satisfaction scores, NPS scores, and we actually did list at the end of last year on the NASDAQ. Now, why this is important to you is that we have 11,000 plus customers across the world in different segments of the like from enterprise down to SMBs and scaling businesses. We really want to be a tool for all by bringing in that technology and by being able to have that overall management across the board. So now, when it comes to what we do as Navan, we offer a empowered travel, payments, and expense management system. Our travel product enables companies of all sizes to really manage and scale a world of world-class travel. Navan combining that unrivaled inventory with a consumer-grade user experience, personalized 24/7 support with one goal in mind, taking the pain out of booking, whether it's for business or personal travel. Whether you're booking for, a large group or via our meetings and events offering, or just our platform to meet all your travel needs. On top of this, we then embed our own payment solution so that you can choose something that fits your business, from card solutions to using existing card programs. For then more control and visibility in spend, we have our expense management module. Our product automates end-to-end expense management with proactive built-in policies, enforcing them every single time someone taps a card or they, take a picture of the receipt for a reimbursement. Having that real-time spend data then surfaced for insights, reporting, and budgeting as well. With our full end-to-end suite of products, this gives Navan, and this gives you, with Navan, one platform to really easily manage every transaction that an employee makes on behalf of the business. Navan, essentially our approach to travel is revolutionary to make travel easy. We provide one across the board consumer experience, whether you are someone booking travel on someone else's behalf, but also through to then also the back end for administration as well. We curate search results informed by prior preferences of the individual and also company policy. We have a deep range of supply for intuitive booking and also providing you then the options. We also have a critical duty of care, especially in the world we live in right now, having the ability to know where your travelers are, understand if they need support with proactive travel alerts from our global system. We then have differentiated support experiences depending on how different people want to interact with the system, whether that's through chat, through our AI called Ava, but then also picking up the phone and calling someone. Then giving that real-time visibility into expenses and overall giving your employees the ability to get their money back faster if they're going via a reimbursement. Because we are the travel management company, the online booking tool, and the expense platform all in one, we have all of the context to be able to actually automate this entire process. Whether you're using one of our cards or a third-party corporate card from your bank or submitting a reimbursement, we are automatically coding an expense, reducing errors and the time spent actually on that review. We do this all in real time, and the way that we're able to get so much context into how an employee is spending and what they're doing is by having that one unified solution for traveling agency, online booking tool, and the expense platform. So for example, here, if I make a trip related expense, we automatically know to apply my on-trip policies and how I'm allowed to actually spend on behalf of the business. If I've not created a trip, we then know that how I'm allowed to spend on behalf of the business when I'm not traveling. So we're able to make that big distinction that is very key to being able to automate this. We also have information from our card providers, so Visa, MasterCard, Amex, to give us the information to know exactly then what someone's actually spending on so that we can give that correct coding and apply the correct policies as well. Enforcing policy at a point of swiping a card or submitting that out-of-pocket expense. Bringing this all together, if you're currently managing your spend across multiple different systems, maybe you have different card programs, reimbursement tools, and travel platforms, this creates a lot of manual work, policy confusion, and really a lack of real-time visibility as probably your team or other teams within the business take time actually piecing this information together. We solve this by consolidating everything into one unified platform, and we've become the central command center between your HR information and your ERP. From a HR system, we are pulling actually real-time data um, from the employees to automate provisioning and also policy assignments so that as people join, leave, and move around the business, we're able to automate this. Pushing coded transactions directly then into your ERP that are fully reconciled, making your month-end close faster and more accurate. This is one system, one login, and one automated flow for all T&E spend. We eliminate the noise so your team can focus on really what matters. And hopefully that's the kind of consolidation that you guys are looking for coming into Navan. I guess it's all well and good me saying this and presenting this, but you don't have to just take our word for it. We have, as I said, 11,000 plus customers. For example, HelloFresh was able to save 28% on their flight bookings just by moving over to Navan from their other like incumbent tool. Zoom, they described expense reconciliation as an acceptable evil that accountants just had to accept. Manual reconciliation actually took them weeks. With Navan, it actually is under an hour each month, saving them on an average 3 days each every month across their different employees that were actually put to the task before Navan came in. Oh, so I'm going to jump now into a demonstration of the platform, but does anyone have any questions? You can chuck them in the Q&A now very quickly. Otherwise, I will jump straight into our platform, show you how it works. Okay, so I'm going to actually start today with a booking, and then we'll go into an expense submission and then out into reporting. But essentially, this is where it's all starts. The first thing is within my profile, yes, I'll be brought in via that HR information, but I also want to be able to tailor my profile to me so that every time I come in and book, Navan knows my passport information, my loyalty programs, anything else about my kind of calendar preferences, and also maybe where I like to sit on planes and trains and things like that. It's got all of my preferences in there in my profile. Within Navan, we also have the ability to book on behalf of other people. So if you are, say, an executive assistant, or you just need to book on behalf of one of your colleagues, you can get permission to do this, and you can see you can actually log in as that person, bringing in then all of that person's profile data as well. So you don't have to get their passport or their loyalty programs too. When it comes to then booking on Navan, we can handle flight, hotels, trains, and rental cars. Powering this via AI. So we have normal search functions, which I will show you today, but you can also actually ask our AI to kind of filter through these options to give you the best of what you're looking for and why you're looking for it. So maybe I need to get into for a client on site at a certain time. I can put this into Navan and it's able to then tell me the exact options that would be best for me. I'll go ahead and show us a hotel. So let's say I'm off to Amsterdam. And you can see here, we can actually bring in your offices. So that's taken in Navan's Amsterdam office. And I'll go for one night for this purpose. Now, we've not touched on this too much, but essentially what's happening is through our vast range of inventory and where we're actually supplying our hotels and our content from is really to reflect the consumer world. A lot of travel companies currently really only pull from one or two sources, and that's where you might find, price discrepancies from what people can find off. We are an adoption-based company. We really want employees to be enjoying using the tool and using the tool. So this is why we want to pull in as much content as possible so you have that choice. Then Navan has a couple of cost-saving levers in play here. So the first being, because we have 11,000 customers, some like Netflix, Heineken, and Unilever, we have a team that are able to go out and actually negotiate rates on behalf of all of our customers with big hotel chains, or just smaller independent hotels. We also have a similar with flights. This then means that every one of our customers can benefit from these negotiated rates that we have done on their behalf. So you're seeing the same rates as, say, our Netflix client. You can also bring in your own corporate negotiated rates if you have them within the business as well, so you get the best of both worlds. The next cost saving lever is actually how we approach policy. Now, for some businesses, depending on how you currently have it set up and how you're able to maintain, a lot of businesses set, say, a night cap. And maybe this is set by region or by country, or maybe it's more a spend reasonably. What Navan is able to do is because we are pulling inventory from such a wide range of sources, for example, booking.com, hotels.com, we're actually able to say, okay, within this area that you've gone ahead and searched, the median price of a hotel per night is £340. Anything above that then will be deemed out of policy. So this gives a good kind of difference if I say maybe had a £350 a night cap or maybe a £200 a night cap. If I had a £200 a night cap, I probably wouldn't see too many options that were available to me. If I had a £350 a night cap, I would probably spend that much. This is really where we can give, but based on the market, a view of what actually is a reasonable price to spend on a hotel for this given search. Now, at Navan, we take this one step further. And this is where we actually introduce our reward program. So my team have said that, okay, Jasmine, if you now spend below that policy and below £302, we're going to actually give you rewards for being a good corporate citizen and thinking about custom business money like my own. So you can see here, I've got an option where if I then save the business about £140, £150 by picking this £188 per night option, I'm then gaining £9 of rewards for myself and my own personal travel. These are fully funded by Navan. They're not funded by our customers at all. And it is to incentivize that cost saving behavior. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this option. This experience is designed to be familiar. So if you're used to booking your own holidays on booking.com, hotels.com, this is exactly what you'll find. You'll also be able to see exactly where we are pulling these rates. So this is actually a member rate. If I've got a loyalty program, this is coming from Priceline, for example. So we're making it very clear what you're actually getting and how much this is going to cost overall and where we're getting this from. So I'm going to go ahead and select through this option from Priceline. I was also able to see the cancellation policy too, which kind of can embed in your decision. And this is where we start building the expense report. So bringing travel and expense in that context together. So rather than me maybe having to make this booking and then expense it through my next system, Navan is asking me upfront before I'm able to book any information that my accounting team, my reporting team need on the back end from me. At Navan, we have to put in a trip purpose, but this is totally customizable to your business and dependent on who you actually want to ask different information to. So for example, maybe project codes or things like that. I'll go ahead and fill that in, and only then can I proceed. I can check my details. I can check the cancellation policy as well, make sure I'm happy with that. If I had any Acor Live Limitless points, then I could add that in as well, but I don't have that loyalty program. And then I'm seeing how much I'm getting in rewards. Now, this is where we come to that payment method. And I know I've spoken about this a little bit during the presentation, but essentially what we're able to do here is we issue all of our customers a line of credit. We then spin up a unique virtual card for every single booking. This means that no one has to put down a card, no one has to spend out of their own pocket. We're then able to, on the back end, give finance a fully reconciled transaction on behalf of the employee with all of that information that we talked about at the top there. So as soon as I actually go ahead and click that book button, you're done. All the employee has to do, or all the booker has to do, is worry about actually getting to this place that I'm choosing to travel to. I'm not going to go ahead and book this, otherwise I'll get in trouble. But essentially, on the back end, what then this looks like is As soon as that card gets charged, we have a one-to-one relationship between that booking information and that payment method. And here we're able to then give you that fully reconciled transaction on the back end. So for example, when Tyler, he booked the Moore Hotel in real time, we were able to code this up with Tyler's department cost center region subsidiary. We were also able to say when someone like Tyler is spending in a certain way, we want this to be the defaulted GL coding. And then any other additional information that we've asked from Tyler at that kind of checkout page will also be here as well. Moving then on to expense, because essentially when it comes to then the travel bookings, this is it full end to end. It's ready to process into the ERP and it's done. So then moving on to expense, I'm going to jump into the mobile app and show you actually a submission. Again, user experience is for always top of mind for us. So we have full feature parity between our mobile app and our web portal. The reason I'm going to show you an expense on the mobile app is because a lot of the time when people are, out at a restaurant entertaining clients, etc., they usually don't have their laptop open. They usually have their phone open and they've usually paid with their phone. So what we really want to be able to do is have it as easy as possible for employees to actually spend in real time on behalf of the business. This is where I can, still manage my trips, maintain my traveling data as well, and get my tickets and things like that. And then I come to my expenses. Now, similar to how we built policy into that booking flow, we also built it in to the employee's mobile app. So this is where all the back end settings have now filtered down to show how I personally can spend on behalf of the business. So we've got that full transparency between the employee and that policy, and I'm not having to go dig around and find an employee handbook anywhere. Now, the ways that I can spend, as I was mentioning, we have the ability to bring in third-party corporate card programs that you may already have within the business. We then do have our own corporate cards as well, called Navan cards. And these are quite special because we are the issuer. We have a lot of control we can build into these cards. One of those being actually making these cards trip activated. So these cards can actually turn on and off based on my trips so that I can use it towards those. The only then difference between utilizing a card and just submitting an out-of-pocket reimbursement is that if I actually tap any card at the till, I'll get a real-time notification from Navan to say, great, you've spent in this way. Please take a picture of the receipt. The only difference here is that I'm spending out of my own pocket, and I'll show you today. I would just come in here and take a picture of the receipt at the till. Now, the OCR is telling me some pretty bad jokes while it reads as much as it can from that receipt. And it's essentially going to be filling in my expense for me. If this receipt I was uploading actually matched with a credit card transaction, it would automatically attach it. However, it's identified that I've not submitted this before, so we're going to go ahead and create a new reimbursement. Now, the idea here is that Navan is going to essentially decide how I'm likely spending here. So for example, here it's brought in the amount, the merchant, the date and time of the transaction, and the actual, the VAT details. And that can be based on how the team are wanting to set this up and claim VAT. But it's done for me. It's pulled it right off the receipt. Now then, using these data points, Navan is making a couple of assumptions about how I'm likely to be spending. So for example here, the date and time of this transaction does not coincide with the date that I had a trip booked within Navan. So I'm deemed not traveling. Really, for me, in my expenses, the only way that I'm allowed to spend on cafes and restaurants when I'm not traveling is usually entertaining clients. That's what's being pre-populated for me. Now, of course, the idea is that I'm doing this in real time. It's easy. I'm just checking Navan's work. So if I need to make a change, I can very easily do so. If there's anything else my team needed me to fill out as part of this submission, that's where I would be asked and prompted to do it now. So anything that's needed for the reporting purposes. Something we also have the ability to do via our AI is actually directly integrate with your calendars. So this is very helpful for maybe an executive assistant who's expensing on behalf of someone else, but it's also very helpful for you to fill out your expenses. So rather than having to describe what you were doing, Navan has pulled an event that was happening around that time from my calendar. With that, it's pulled in the participants of who I was with. And so my team can actually agree that, yes, I was entertaining a client, and this is exactly who I was with. I'll go ahead and jump out of that now. Last but not least, if I had actually submitted a reimbursement, this is where I can see exactly when I'm going to get paid. Something that Navan can automate is actually paying employees back directly so that you're not having to take a payment run out and employees get back paid back quickly. So anything approved and ready to go, I can see, and it's very transparent for me. I can also see the history of any deposits in my account and also any declines. If I have any to-dos, this will also sit here in my tasks and I get real-time notifications against it. With the 2 minutes we have left, I'll jump into reporting. Being travel and expense all together, it really comes together when we can actually see, okay, how much did a trip cost? What was something someone doing while they were on a trip? So every transaction that is occurred on a trip is automatically collated together to give you a view of everything that was booked on Navan and everything that was spent while that person was traveling. So the first thing we can say is, okay, if we were to send Trisha to Miami again, how much would that likely cost? Also being able to break that down on a transactional level. We then have fully fledged dashboard and reporting. Our admin companion also gives you the ability to ask our AI questions to help analyze your data with a couple that are, preloaded and pre-documented. And then you also being able to type your questions as well when it comes through. We then have the ability to see everything all together in one place, travel and expenses, and analyze our spend in one. We then also have a budgeting tool as well in-house where you're able to live track any attribute within Navan. Now, I know that we've come up to 1 minute left, so we might not get to actually go through the questions. But for anyone who has put questions in the channel, what we'll do is we'll follow up with you after the fact. So maybe I can answer one now. Who would I've got a question that says, who would customize the Navan app to country need like Austria? Our government and company work council demand, or do we have like local partners? So depending on the actual region, we do work with partners that maybe have a better network, for example, like this. Austria, however, we do have the point of sale within the Navan application. Um, I think we are at time, so I'll take the rest away if that's okay, and we can follow up after. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone.